Hey kids, welcome to Unit 1, Lesson 2, Java Lab, Exercise number 1. This year's videos are going to be a little more abbreviated than last year's. I'm not going to go through each lesson one by one. Instead, this year's videos are going to focus more on some of the harder lessons and important techniques that I think are important for the class. But since this is an important lesson, we're going to go ahead and cover this. First, I want to welcome you to code.org. This is going to be a pretty awesome year you are about to embark on. And you're probably right now freaking out about what you see in front of you. You have this little grid thing here, this predict and run, which is your instructions. And then we have this code over here. And if you came from CSP, you're probably looking at this and saying, well, the screen looks familiar. Well, the code does not. And you're right. This is going to be a completely different type of coding. This is going to be object-oriented. We'll get to that later. We're going to talk about this a lot throughout this class. What I want you to take away from these first couple of lessons is just the structure of how things are written. You don't have to understand it fully. You just have to understand some of the larger points. This lesson has us predicting what this program does. So let's take a look at the program. First thing, I'm importing something here called the neighborhood, it looks like. Then I have a public class neighborhood runner. And then we have public static void main, and then some parentheses, a string and args. We'll get to all this a little later. This right here, for right now, is just your setup. Down here, we create a painter, and the painter is going to be Sophia, and it looks like it's a new painter. Down here, we have a paint bucket, so I think my program has something to do with painting. Then I'm going to go Sophia move, Sophia take paint. Sophia is going to turn left again, move, and then paint the color orange. And this program's asking us, well, what do you think is going to happen? Let's take this from a new student perspective. It looks like we're creating a painter. The painter's moving, taking some paint, doing some turns, and eventually painting something orange. We know we have the paint right here, and we have to move once. So I think a painter is going to appear here. We're going to move. We're going to take this paint. We're going to turn left, turn left, turn left, move, and then paint a square or dot orange. And for these lessons, you are just going to enter your information right here. Once you enter your prediction, you can go ahead and hit run and see what happens. Well, let's see if I'm right. And the program did what I thought it would. So it looks like this painter that we create named Sophia is this object right here. And then we can do different things to it. Looks like it can move, which moves a grid dot. We can take paint, which was that little paint bucket there. We can make some movements, and we can apply that color. This kind of reminds me of the turtle from CSP. And honestly, it's not going to get that much harder for the rest of this class. We're going to create some objects. That object's going to do something. Now what that object's going to do is going to get a little more complex, but it's really not going to get much more difficult than this. Once we're done and we submitted, we're done with our lesson. There are two big key takeaways from this lesson. Number one, stop, take a breath. That's going to be fine. I promise you, by the end of this class, you are going to understand the basics of Java coding. Two is this object right here. This is really the foundation of Java or object-oriented programs. We are going to create these objects or blueprints, and from those objects, we are going to create multiple different versions of that. And to explain object-oriented program, I love to bring this comic up. I promise you, there's not a lot of cheesy memes throughout these videos, but I think this explains it quite well. We have Dr. Crusher here setting a temperature for hot to be 1.9 million kelvins. That's pretty hot. Now in our program, if somebody else asked for something hot, they would get that same 1.9 million kelvins. And that's not very good. And when we create objects, we're just creating different instances of that object. So hot for Crusher is one thing, but hot for Picard is another. And code.org has much better examples as we move through the curriculum. Hopefully this video gave you a little understanding of what an object is and a little how Java programming works. As always, if you have any questions, come see me. Otherwise, kids, I'll see you in the next lesson. See you later. Bye.